So good morning, everybody. So once again, the focus of our yoga class this morning is going to be on breathing. This is super important when the weather is like this. I know a lot of folks have difficulty breathing. I've been having some issues actually feeling like I can't get a full deep breath when it gets really humid like this. And I find that the best way to work with that is to really focus on consciously bringing breath into the body. So let's begin by doing just that. We're going to begin by observing the breath. So if you want to sit up nice and close to the front edge of your chair and have your feet, a comfortable distance apart under your knees if you can. And if that spacing doesn't work for you, if you need to be a little wider or a little closer, just kind of make that happen. So the reason for putting your feet under your knees, by the way, is to take some of the stress out of the muscles in your lower legs and your upper legs and kind of give your knees a little bit of a break. So let's begin first with noticing the breath. Notice if you're breathing in and out through your nose this morning. And you can do this with your eyes closed or open. It's completely up to you. I find that by closing the eyes, I can really focus on what's happening in my body and I'm not distracted by all the things that are going on in the room around me. So notice if the air is moving in and out through your nose. And if you're using your mouth to inhale, can you try just to close your mouth a little bit, breathe in through your nose, and if you find like you need to breathe out through your mouth to get the air out a little quicker, you can breathe out through pursed lips like you're blowing out a candle. So this is the first part of our breathing practice, is just to notice. And now notice if your breaths are shallow or deep, if they're fast or slow, if they're short or long. And then notice if your shoulders are up around your ears, see if you can relax your shoulders down. And if you're leaning forward a little bit, can you maybe lean back a little bit? Is your jaw tight? If your upper teeth and lower teeth are in contact with one another, perhaps you've got a little bit of clenching in there. So I'm going to invite you to just create some space between your upper teeth and your lower teeth. Let your tongue be relaxed in the bottom of your mouth. And now begin to slowly deepen your breathing. Over the next several breaths, you're just going to let the inhalations get a little longer each time. And you're going to let the exhalations get a little more complete each time. So that's going to take a little bit longer as well. So again, as you breathe in and out with each subsequent breath, the breathing becomes longer, deeper, slower. And you might notice as you're shifting into this breathing that you are feeling or noticing some tension somewhere else in your body. So as you notice those areas of tension, just make a choice to relax the tension in your muscles. And again, it's best to breathe in and out through your nostrils if that's not possible for you. If you've got a breathing issue or you're having some difficulty today, you can certainly breathe in through your nose, maybe a little auxiliary with your mouth, and then out through pursed lips like you're trying to blow out a candle. As you're breathing in and out, we're going to start to add a count to the breath. So breathing in to a slow count of 4 and breathing out to a slow count of 4. And if you can't do 4 right away, start with 3. That's okay. And it's a very slow count. It's like saying 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi. So you don't want to rush through that counting. Breathing into 4 and out to 4. Releasing tightness and tension anywhere you find it. As you continue with these long, slow, deep breaths, let's try and lengthen the exhalations a little bit. So breathing into a slow count of 4 and breathing out to a slow count of 6. So the first couple of times you might need to make that exhalation to a count of 5 if 6 is a little too long, but see if you can get to 6. And the reason that we slow the exhalations down, make them a little bit longer, is because when we exhale, we're stimulating the relaxation response in the body. So we're stimulating our bodies to relax and let go. When we breathe in, we're actually stimulating the nervous system into a more of a fight or flight mechanism. So with the exhalations, we're trying to calm the system down. And when we engage that relaxation response, it's actually very cooling to the body. When we engage the fight or flight response, it creates a little more heat in the body. And in these really warm days of summer, it's nice to have a breathing practice that actually helps regulate our temperature down a little bit, bring it down a little bit. So breathing into a slow count of 4 through the nostrils, breathing out to a slow count of 6, either through the nostrils or through pursed lips with a very gentle blowing out a candle kind of movement. As you continue with this long, slow, deep breaths, notice your spine. Notice if your spine is as straight as it can be. See if you can create a little more length in your spine by pressing down into your sitting bones and reaching up through the crown of your head. So you're still breathing into that slow count of 4 and breathing out to that slow count of 6. And you're lengthening the spine from the sitting bones all the way to the crown of the head. Your face muscles are relaxed, your jaw is relaxed, your neck, your arms, your shoulders, everything is relaxed. Breathing in to a slow count of 4. Breathing out to a slow count of 6. And now let go of the counting. So just release that mental counting. Let your breath go back to its natural rhythm. So don't try to lengthen it at all. Don't try to lengthen your exhalations or your inhalations. And as you return to your natural breath, notice if there's been a little bit of a shift. Let your eyes gently open. Breathing in and breathing out. On the inhalations, we're going to take the arms and sweep them gently up overhead. And breathing out, we're going to bring the palms together and right down through the center line of your body. So breathing in, the arms come out to the sides and up overhead. Breathing out, the palms come together, hands right down through the center line of your body. We're going to do that a few times, and as we do, we're lengthening the breath a little bit, but we don't have to go to the place where we're counting. We're just having that nice, long, slow breath in and out. This is very relaxing to the nervous system to sweep the arms out and up, to bring them back and down. Let's do this a couple more times. Some nice, long, slow, deep breaths in and out. Lifting the arms and bringing the palms together. And when your hands come together at your heart center this time, let's pause here. We're going to hold right here with the hands in this position. Again, breathing in, breathing out. Notice the spine. See if you can get your spine a little bit taller. And as you next inhale, extend your arms out in front. Bring your thumbs and your first fingers together. And then sweep the arms all the way around behind you. Now this is still on the inhalation. On the exhalation, bring your arms back around. Palms come together right into your heart. So we're going to do this several times. Breathing in, the arms come forward. First fingers and thumbs come together. We're going to stretch the arms wide, bring them back behind you. Breathing in, let's come all the way out and around. Squeeze the shoulder blades together for a little extra. And then as you come back around, gently bring your palms together and into your heart. Now notice as you're doing this, try not to lift your chin when you bring your arms back. See if you can keep the chin level so the head stays right on top of the shoulders. So we're breathing in and opening through the chest. Breathing out and bringing the hands back. Let's do this 2 more times. Breathing in and out. And breathing out and hands come back in. Last time. Inhale. And exhale. Good. Holding the hands right here. Let your thumbs rest on your breastbone. So if you extend your thumbs a little bit and then just let them rest on your breastbone. As you breathe in, see if you can breathe into the space right under your thumbs. So feel that part of your chest rising and falling. Breathing in and breathing out. So your thumbs are touching right on your breastbone, and as you inhale, you can feel the chest rising. And as you breathe out, you feel the chest falling. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths. And with your next inhalation, now take your arms straight up overhead. Keep your palms together. And once they're up overhead and you've finished your inhalation, exhale, bring the arms out to the sides. Turn your palms down toward the floor. Bring your hands all the way back to that starting position. So inhaling, we're going up. And exhaling, we're going out and down. Let's keep going with this. Breathing in. If this ever feels like too much, if it's a little too intense, I know it's a little warm and it might feel a little too intense, you can simply keep the hands at the heart center and just keep breathing in and out. Maybe don't bring your arms up quite so high. That can help too. So there's a number of things you can do. So this is meant to slow the breathing down, to cool the body a little bit. You don't want to have that reverse effect. And last time, we're going to come all the way up as we breathe in. Breathing out, we're going to come all the way out to the sides. We're going to bring the hands right back to that starting position, right at the heart center. Breathing in and breathing out. Now spread your fingers wide and make sure you're left fingers are touching your right fingers, so there's good contact there. And make sure the heels of your hands, that's right down here, make sure those are in contact with one another as well. And as you're breathing in and out, we're going to press the heels of the hands down and lift the elbows a little bit without lifting the shoulders. So drop the shoulders down. If your shoulders are lifted like this, I'm going to drop the shoulders down. We're just lifting the elbows up. And then we're going to see if we can bring the elbows together. So we're just going back and forth. Now, as you're doing this, keep the heels of your hands together. And what we're doing is we're getting a bit of a stretch here for the hands, for the palms, for the wrists. Good. So we're just breathing in and out. Great. And 2 more times. Great. And then let's release that. Release your hands. Let them rest on your thighs. Sitting up nice and tall. Close your eyes for a moment. Breathe in and out and notice what's happening in your hands, your fingers, your palms, your wrists, your forearms, elbows, upper arms, shoulders. Good, and then allow your eyes to gently open. We're gonna take the right hand, extend it out like you're saying stop, and then we're gonna bring the fingers down. So we're lifting and lowering the fingers. So this is just working on the wrist. Now if your arm is way up here above your shoulder, see if you can bring it down a little bit. So we're gonna keep this shoulder down away from the ear. Great, next time you say stop, hold here and bring the arm right out to the side. So get that arm right out to the side. And we're going to do a little swan neck. Now we've done this in the past, so if you're not familiar with it, you can just kind of watch the first time or two, and then I think you'll get it pretty quick. So as we're breathing in and out, we're just going to let the wrist kind of flex and bring the back of the wrist like it's coming to the shoulder, and then extend out. So it's like a little swan neck here, and then saying stop. All right, so breathe in and breathe out at whatever pace feels okay for you. Great. And the next time you extend, let's keep the arm there, turn the palm up toward the ceiling. Now, as you turn the palm up toward the ceiling, check and make sure your upper arm is parallel to the floor. In other words, you don't want it way down here and you don't want it way up here. You want to have it just about at shoulder height. Now, we're going to strengthen these muscles right here. We're going to tap the shoulder and extend, and tap and extend. So this is all movement happening at the elbow, and it's these muscles right up here in the upper arm that are doing the work. Now you can continue to just tap and extend like this, or if you want to add a little bit more of a challenge to this, imagine you're holding a weight, and then see if you can really make that muscle strong. So squeeze that muscle right there. And when you extend, same thing, keep squeezing. So it's a slow movement in and a slow movement out. So you can see how slowly I'm going, and I'm getting more and more benefit the slower I go. And one more time out and all the way in. Great. Let's release that arm, sweep it across the body. We're going to pull that arm over to the left. And as you pull your arm over to the left, turn your head and look out over your right shoulder. And with your head over your right shoulder, you're just going to lift and lower your chin like you're saying yes. Breathing in and breathing out. Good, and then we're going to turn the head back to center. We're going to release that arm, sweep it around behind your back. Let it rest on the small of your back. Take your left hand and grab hold of your right and pull that arm over a little bit. Okay, so as you pull the arm over, try not to lean to one side or lean forward. You want to have your spine nice and straight. And we're going to draw the left ear to the left shoulder and then lift. So we're just keeping the nose forward, drawing that left ear to the left shoulder. So you're not turning the head, you're actually just bringing the ear toward the shoulder. And that can be really challenging for a lot of us who have tightness in the neck and shoulder. I'm one of those folks who tend to be tight here. Next time you have your ear on your shoulder, now we're going to hold the ear in that position. And as you hold the ear here, we're just going to turn the nose down toward the floor and then up toward the ceiling. Breathe in and out, slow and steady. So the more you can slow your breathing down, the more of a relaxing experience this is going to be, even if it's challenging, right? So it might be quite challenging for the muscles in your neck. So breathing in and breathing out. Great. And then we're slowly going to raise the head back up. Now release that right arm, sweep it forward and all the way up overhead. Reach up as high as you can. Lean to your left side a little bit and imagine you're trying to grab something up on the ceiling. So you're reaching as high as you can, taking a couple of breaths in and out. Excellent. And then slowly release that arm. Let it come all the way down. Let both arms hang down by your sides. Close your eyes. And notice if your right arm feels longer than your left arm. If there's more activity there, so maybe there's some tingling, maybe there's some heat or coolness or other sensation in your right arm, hand, or fingers that is not present in the left. And then you can let your eyes drift open if they've been closed, taking your hands back to your lap. We're going to do the same thing on the left side, so extend your left arm out in front. And we'll start with those wrist movements, right? So it's just saying stop and then bringing the fingers down. And you might notice now that things are different on this side. Maybe your wrist, your hand, your arm, your elbow, your shoulder works a little bit different on this side. That's really common, really normal to have a different range of movement in the right side and the left side in presumably the same joint. I definitely notice a difference in my own body. And the next time that your palm is up and you're saying stop, let's hold here. And then we're going to sweep that arm straight out to the side. Now make sure your arm isn't way up here and it's not way down here. You want to bring it right in that nice sweet spot where the shoulder is. If the shoulder is up around the ear like this, you want to drop that shoulder down. Okay. So breathing in and breathing out. We're going to do that little swan neck movement on this side. So bending at the elbow and the wrist, and then extending, and bending, and extending. Breathing in, breathing out. Good. So this is a wonderful thing to do if you have any issues in your fingers or your hands, you know, a little tightness, arthritis, if you've, you know, just generally feel a little achy or uncomfortable, this is a nice thing to do to kind of get the nerves from your neck that go down into your hand to get them a little more relaxed. Okay, the next time that you extend, we're going to hold here. We're going to turn the palm up. So we're keeping that arm right at that shoulder level and bending the elbow, just tapping the shoulder and then extending. So once again, keeping the upper arm parallel to the floor, so we're not letting that move. You can continue to do this, just bending and extending at the elbow. If you want to add a little more challenge, make like you've got a weight here and very slowly come in, squeezing these biceps muscles and really slowly extending so you're still squeezing those biceps muscles, right? So when you bring your fist in, that's a concentric contraction. So we're bringing the hand toward the shoulder. When we're extending and we're still squeezing these muscles, this is an eccentric contraction. It works the muscle in a little different way, which is super important for overall strength, right? So sometimes folks will do weight training and they'll do just like one thing, and that trains the muscles just to work in one way. It doesn't train them to work in an abundance of ways, which is super important. So let's just go a couple more times here. Great. And extend, and then we're going to take that arm and sweep it right across the body. We're going to bring it all the way over to the right. Turn and look out over your left shoulder, and then lift and lower your chin as if you're saying yes. So it's as if you're saying yes. Nice, slow, gentle movements. And then let's bring the head back to center. We're going to release that left arm, sweep it out and around, bring it behind your body. And then take your right hand, grab hold of your left back there, sit up nice and tall. So we're sitting back just a little bit. I'm going to drop that right ear to the shoulder and lift. And breathe in and breathe out. All right, so keep your head facing forward. So you're not turning your head. You're actually just bringing the ear to the shoulder. That's a little different. That works those side of the neck muscles a little bit differently. Next time that you have your ear on your shoulder, let's stay here and breathe. And as you're holding here, turn your nose down and up. So you've got the ear toward the shoulder and you're just turning the nose down and turning the nose up. And let's slowly bring the head all the way back up. We're going to release that arm from behind the back. Take the arm straight up overhead. Reach up, 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 up. Reach up and lean to the right and see if you can grab something up there on the ceiling. So there's something up there really, really high and you can get it just by reaching a little higher. And then we're going to slowly lower that arm all the way down. Let both arms come down by your sides. Close your eyes for a moment. Take a couple of breaths in and out. And just notice what you feel. Notice the sensations in your fingers, your hands, your arms. Notice your elbows, your shoulders, your shoulder tops. And then let's take the hands back to the lap. Bring your feet a little wider than your hips. Okay. Extend your arms and have your hands resting right out here on your knees with your arms nice and straight. And then what we're going to do is we're going to be leaning forward, but we're leaning forward from the hips. Okay, so we're not going to lean forward by rounding the back. We're going to keep the back nice and straight. And the arms are a good way, the position of the arms, this is a good way to kind of check that and make sure we're doing okay. So as you lean forward, bend your elbows and keep your elbows in really close to your body as you come forward and then as you come back up. So we're breathing in and breathing out. So keep your head kind of lifted. So if you're tucking your chin toward your collarbones, chances are you're rounding through your upper back. So what we really want to do is see if we can keep that upper back nice and flat. Good, so the movement's happening here from the hips. Now, if you've got hip issues, you might not come far forward. You might just come a little bit forward, and that's okay. So you're just doing the best you can. Keep the elbows in really tight, so don't let your elbows, in other words, you don't want to have your elbows way out here. See how my elbows are way out there? That's not helping me. I'm really going to keep my elbows in tight. A couple more of these. Nice job. And all the way up. Okay, relax your arms a little bit. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to bring the chin right down to the chest, as far down as you can. And let your head hang here. Relax the muscles in your upper back. Relax the muscles in your arms, your shoulders, your hands, your fingers. So everything is relaxed. Breathing in and breathing out. And let's continue that. So round forward a little bit more, like you could bring your nose down to your navel. And again, we're just going to hold here and breathe. Relaxing the muscles in the upper back, the neck, the shoulders. And then let's see if we can go a little bit farther. So like you could bring your forehead to the floor. So you can use your hands to support. So you're just coming forward a little bit more. If anything hurts here, you're going to come up out of this movement, but we're just going to hold here for a breath. And then slowly come back up, first straightening the lower part of the back, and then the mid and upper back. And then the final movement is to take the chin from the chest. Right, so it's like you're uncurling a little bit here. So let's try that again. Slowly drop the chin to the chest. Breathe in, breathe out. Release the muscles in the upper back, the neck, and the shoulders. After you've got the chin to the chest, now bring your nose toward your navel. So we're rounding a little bit more here. Breathing in, breathing out. And then come down and bring your forehead toward the floor. Again, breathing in, breathing out. And slowly uncurl from the bottom up. So don't lift your head till the very end. Nice. Okay, beautiful job, you guys. Let's turn the head as far to the right as it will go. Turning, turning, turning. When you've got your head turned as far as it'll go, turn your shoulders to the right. We're turning the shoulders to the right. And then see if you can turn your mid back and your low back. So we're twisting around as far as we can. Keep your sitting bones on the chair though. Don't let your left sitting bone slide forward. You want to keep that nice and even on the chair. And then unwind and come back to center. And let's go to the other side. We'll do the same thing. So turn the head to the left, and then the shoulders, and then the upper back and mid back. So we're twisting around. We're breathing in and out, smooth, slow, steady, efficient. And then unwinding, coming back around. One more time, we're going to go over to that right side, turning the head, the shoulders, the upper back, mid back, low back. Breathing in, breathing out smoothly and slowly, coming all the way back around. Let's go to the other side. So head, shoulders, upper back, mid back, low back. Coming all the way back around. Beautiful. All right. Let's bring the feet a little closer together. And then we're going to extend the right leg, have the heel on the floor. And with your heel on the floor, we're going to start by squeezing and extending the toes. Squeezing and extending toes. And then point and flex your foot. Breathing in and breathing out. If you'd like to keep your heel on the floor as you're doing this, you can certainly do that. You don't have to lift your foot. If you want to have a little more challenge for your thigh muscles, which in my opinion is always a good thing to challenge those thigh muscles, see if you can lift the heel, tapping the toes and then tapping the heel. Good. And then let's bring the heel to the floor once again with the foot flexed. So it's, in other words, it's moving toward your shin. It's like you're trying to bring your toes toward your shin. I'm going to rotate that whole leg in and out. In and out. And you can feel that the ankle, the knee, the hip, everything all the way up is working pretty hard here to get that rotation. Now notice if your posture has started to get a little bit forward, you can always use your hands on the chair to give you some support. I like to do this because it's just a reminder, because sometimes I fall into that unconscious, you know, this is where my body likes to be, as opposed to, yeah, this is really where I should be most of the time. And the next time that your foot is straight up toward the ceiling, we're going to pause here. We're going to bend that knee and bring the heel under the chair and then extend. So this can be a real challenge, keeping the foot rather lifted from the floor if that's possible. Otherwise, you can drag the foot if that feels like it's a little bit better for you. Again, see if you can challenge yourself a bit here. As you bring your heel back, you might notice that your foot goes way under your chair, or maybe it doesn't get that far under. We're going to have the chance to compare the other side. There's often a difference. You know, if you're working with a knee injury or you've had a knee replacement or any of those things, your range of movement is going to be very different on the side that was injured versus the non-affected side. Okay, so the next time that your foot comes back, we're going to bring the toes to the floor so that you can stretch out the bottom of your foot and then see if you can slide that foot back under a little bit more. So as you slide that foot back under a little bit more, see if you can feel a little bit more of a stretch. Now, some of us might be feeling it in the foot or the ankle. Some of us might be feeling it here in the knee or the thigh. Might even be feeling it in the lower leg, so it really depends. I've got quite a stretch happening here in the top part of my knee and my thigh because that's where I need it on this leg. That's for sure. Still recovering from my knee injury. And so I'm going to just kind of hold here and stay with my breathing, because I know if I try to bring my foot back a little bit farther, That's going to make it harder for me to breathe, which is going to put me into that more anxious place. So I'm going to stay in the less anxious place. If you can move your foot back a little bit more and you're comfortable with that level of stretch, then do that for yourself this morning. Let's see if we can take 5 full deep breaths here. And as you're breathing, notice, are you leaning forward? Can you lean back a little bit? Because sometimes we try and get out of the stretch here in the leg by leaning forward or twisting the body a little bit. And we're not even aware that we're doing it. It's just a compensation mechanism to get your body into the right position, or what it perceives as the right position. Let me just say that, because there is no right position. There's just what's available to you. And that could be different tomorrow than it is today. It's always the case, right? We maybe move 1 step forward and 1 step back. Sometimes we take 2 steps forward and 1 step back. So breathing in, breathing out. Okay, so before we disengage this leg, I'm going to ask you to come right up on your toes, lift up on your tippy toes, and then see if you can press your heel down toward the floor. So lift up on your tippy toes and heel comes to the floor. We're going to do that a few times. This is going to change the stretch somewhere, that dynamic of stretch somewhere in the leg. For me, I can feel it right here, right where the tendon of my quadriceps muscles really starts in earnest, and right around the knee. That's a really strong stretch. For others, you might be feeling that in the ankle or the foot. And isn't that so cool, right? None of us are the same. So we're just going to do that a couple more times. And last time. Great. Okay, now relax that a little bit, and then let's see if we can slide that foot out. We're going to extend the leg once again. Now, this is where, if you're not holding onto the side of your chair, this is where you may want to do that again, just for more for guidance. You might need to give a little support here if your back is not feeling its best today, but just for a little bit of guidance to make sure we don't do this kind of movement with the spine, because we're going to be lifting and lowering that heel. Now, as you lift and lower the heel, I'm going to ask you to squeeze the muscles right here in the top part of your thigh. These are your quadriceps muscles. So there's 4 muscles in the top part of your thigh. They come down over your knee and attach to the lower part of your leg, and that's what straightens your knee, right? So when these are weak, we can't straighten the knee very well. When these muscles are weak, we can't go up and down the stairs very well. When these muscles are weak, we can't get in and out of a chair, in and out of the car, on and off the toilet, in and out of bed. All these things we can't squat down and pick something up. It's really important for mobility to get these muscles strong and to keep them strong. So the next time that you lift, hold here and breathe and really squeeze these muscles even more. So a way to do that is to think about bringing your toes toward your shin. So you're trying to pull those toes toward the shin, you're pressing out through your heel, you're breathing in and breathing out. You might be feeling like it's a little challenging to get a breath right now. Let's see if we can do this for 2 more breaths, just 2 more. There's 1. And there's 2, and we're going to release and relax and let that leg come all the way down. Bend the knee and let's give this thigh a bit of a massage. You might even go right down over the knee, right? Because those muscles don't stop above your knee. They turn into tendons and they go right down over the kneecap into the lower part of the leg. So here we are, giving them a little squeeze. You can also do a little chopping movement with the side of your hand if that feels okay. Or you can make a little fist and do a little tapping. So there's all kinds of ways to do this. All right, let's do this. Let's just check some leg lengths here. So extend both your legs out, point your toes and bring your feet to the floor, and notice if your right leg is a little longer than your left leg. Pretty cool. I can definitely see a difference here. So the brain is just going to recalibrate this over the next few minutes. We're going to bend this right knee and bring the foot on the floor and keep the left leg extended now. We'll start with the toe movement over there. So we're squeezing and extending toes, breathing in and breathing out. And then let's point and flex the foot. So that means moving from the ankles. So if you can, tap your toes as you lift your heel, and then tap your heel as you lift your toes. If you'd like to keep your heel on the floor, that's okay. So maybe you're noticing this leg isn't as strong as the other leg. So can you start to do a little comparison? We're going to do this comparison throughout the movement on this side. What does it feel like on this left side, pointing and flexing the foot, compared to how it felt pointing and flexing the foot on the right side? Was it very different, or was it fairly the same? It's just an interesting thing to observe. And the next time that you have your heel on the floor, we're going to hold here, pull the toes toward the shin a little bit more. So we're really working these quadriceps muscles. And then we're going to rotate the whole leg in and out like a big windshield wiper. Again, just like we did on the other side. So let's breathe in and out and investigate what it feels like on this side. Can you feel movement in your ankle? Can you feel a little bit of movement in your knee? Do you feel some significant movement up here in the hip socket? Now, for some people, there's not going to be as much movement in the hip socket here, especially if you've got a hip issue on this side or the other side, right? So the movement, we're going to compensate in different ways. So breathing in and breathing out, we're just rotating back and forth, rotating back and forth. Okay, and then the next time that your toes are straight up toward the ceiling, you're going to hold here. This is where I would kind of encourage you to have your arms alongside your body, so your hands are in line with your hips. Your shoulders are right over, so you don't want to have your shoulders forward. You want to have your shoulders over your hands. And we're going to engage the belly muscles a little bit as we bend and extend this left knee. So slow and steady. Now notice what you feel when you're bending and extending this knee, as opposed to what you felt when you are bending and extending that other knee. Does it feel the same? Does it feel different? And how? If it feels different, how does it feel different? Do you feel discomfort differently? Does it just feel weaker or stronger in some way? Do you hear some sounds? Like maybe there's some clicking or clunking going on in the knee. Totally normal if you have those sounds in your knee without pain, right? So noise without pain is not an issue. Noise with pain, that's a bit of an issue. Okay, so the next time that you bend that knee, let's bring the toes to the floor. Okay, so we're sitting up nice and tall. And then let's see if we can slide that foot underneath the chair a little bit more. Now, once again, we're going to do that comparison. Does this foot go back farther, or did the other foot go back farther when you were doing it? And do you know why? So for me, the other side, I couldn't get the foot back farther. I know why, because I broke my knee. But on this side, I can get the foot back really far. So I'm going to go back as far as I can. I'm just going to hold here and breathe and notice where I feel the stretch. Now, maybe on the other side, I felt it in the leg and the knee. Maybe on this side, I feel it in the toes, the bottom of the foot. Maybe I feel it in the front of the shin. Maybe I feel it in my hip. There's all kinds of places we might be feeling this. Breathing in and breathing out. Remember, there is no wrong when it comes to this kind of an experience. It's just what's happening in your body. And then let's see if we can do that little up on tippy toes and then bring the heel down toward the floor and up on tippy toes and heel to the floor. So we're feeling the stretch shift a little bit in a little different way. And again, you might be comparing and saying, wow, on this side, I'm feeling a lot happening in the leg. The other side was so easy. It just went with no problem at all. And isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting to notice those differences in your own body? Because we have this bias, we have this perception bias that everything on the right and on the left is completely symmetrical. So what I can do on the right side, I can easily do on the left side. There's no difference. And when it comes right down to it, when we take the time, we slow down our movement, we deepen our breathing, we start to notice those differences. Okay. And then let's see if we can take that leg and slide it out. We're going to straighten that knee. Give it a moment, especially if you've got a little issue happening here. So give it just a moment to kind of figure out that it's okay to do that. If you didn't have your hands alongside your hips already, I'm going to ask you to do that now. And again, this is just to see if you can just check your own integrity, right? So it's easy to lean forward and not know that I'm leaning forward if my hands are kind of here. It's a lot harder to not know it if my hands are here. It's like, whoa, okay, I can go way back there. So let's engage these muscles really strongly in the leg, and we're going to lift and lower. As you're lifting and lowering, go slow and steady. have your breath slow down a little bit. Try not to hold your breath. That's another thing that we do when something is really challenging, especially with these leg muscles, because lifting this leg is not easy. And when we're lifting the leg, we might kind of take a breath in and hold the breath and see if we can hold the leg up by holding the breath. But this is about letting the breath be smooth and continuous and round as we lift and lower this leg. And maybe I lift just a little bit. So I'm just going to demonstrate that. So maybe I'm lifting just a little bit, and that's fine. That's what I'm doing today, and that is working for me. Now, the next time that you lift this leg, hold here, press out through your heel and pull your toes back toward your shin a little bit more, having your hands right here, keeping your spine in integrity. Slow, deep breaths in and out. It's always interesting to load the body in some way. So right now we're challenging these muscles. We're loading the body in this contracted state, yet I'm asking you to get your breath into a really slow rhythm. Those two things don't generally go together when we're out in the world, because we get into that fight or flight kind of situation. So what I'm asking you to do is to slow your breathing down so that your body knows that this is okay. This is uncomfortable, it's hard, it's challenging, but it's okay. Can you take just 2 more breaths here? Long, slow, deep breaths. There's 1. And 2. And slowly, slowly lower that heel back down. Great job, you guys. Bend that knee. And then let's give a little massage here for this thigh. So all these muscles here, the quadriceps muscles here, you can squeeze. I like to squeeze the muscles. That feels good for me, but maybe for you, you like to do that little chopping movement with the sides of your hands. Maybe that feels good. Or maybe you do like a little fist, light fist and a little tapping movement. Actually, I lied, they all feel really good. So I don't have a favorite. I just like anything that massages my poor body. Okay, so let's see now if we can extend both legs, point the toes, put my toes on the floor and kind of scoot them forward a little bit, and notice hopefully both of your legs are the same length now. You don't have one set of toes going out a little farther than the other. So just kind of notice that, notice what that looks like. Great, and then we'll relax that, bend the knees. Okay, so can you take your right leg now and cross it over your left? If you can, placing the knees one on top of the other. If that doesn't work, it's okay. The alternate for that is to cross at the ankles. So what we want to do, if you're crossing at the ankles, don't let the legs kind of splay out to the side. We're engaging these inner thigh muscles and we're keeping the knees together. If you've got knee on top of knee, what I'm going to ask you to do is take the outside of your right foot, like the little toe side, and see if you can bring it closer to your lower leg. So you see what I'm doing here? So instead of just kind of hanging out in this position, I'm actually engaging that leg. So I'm bringing the outside of the foot, pardon me, a little closer to the lower leg. So once again, if you're down here, ankle on ankle, you're just pulling the knees together. If you're here, knee on top of knee, you're pulling that foot in a little bit. Now, lengthen through your spine. So you're gonna take your hands and place them here on the top knee. If you're crossing at the ankle, just pick one, whichever one is most comfortable for your hands. And lengthen through your spine here. Nice. So we're gonna turn the head to the right, turn the shoulders to the right, turn the upper back, the mid back to the right. Keep turning, turning, turning. Breathing in and breathing out, and then release that and come all the way back to the center. So we're going to do that a couple of times. Don't let your sitting bones move on the chair. Keep those, keep the foot reaching toward the lower leg. If you're crossing knee on top of knee, if you're crossing ankle on top of ankle, keep your knees together. So one more time. Great. Coming all the way back. Beautiful. Okay, so now keep your left hand on your knee. Take your right arm, sweep it forward till it's just about at shoulder height. Now lock your gaze on your thumb. So keep looking at your thumb. Breathe in and breathe out, and we're going to raise that arm up as we keep looking at the thumb. Bring it up and around and all the way behind you. Good. When your arm gets a little below shoulder height, we're going to draw the arm up again and come all the way forward. So we're going to do that a couple of times. Now, if this makes you feel dizzy or a little lightheaded, just don't look at your thumb. You can just bring the arm back and down. And I'm going to do it without using my vision, just to kind of demonstrate that. So last time, coming up and around and down, and then all the way back. Wonderful job, you guys. Okay, relax your legs, lean back a little bit, uncross, and then cross the other way. So once again, if you can, cross knee on top of knee. If that doesn't work, ankle on top of ankle. This side I'm going to demonstrate with my ankles crossed, just so we get kind of a little bit of a balance here. So squeezing the knees together if you're crossing ankle on top of ankle. If you've got knee on top of knee, remember it's the outside of this left foot. You're going to pull it in toward the lower leg. So you're trying to get that foot as close to the leg as you can. Hands are resting on your thighs or on your top thigh, whichever you'd like. And then we're just going to twist left. So turn and look out over the left shoulder, shoulders, upper back, mid back, and then unwind, coming all the way back around. And again, breathing in and breathing out. So slow and steady. If you do nothing else during the day, if it's like too hot to move and you're like sitting out on the porch with a nice cool glass of iced tea or whatever it is you like to drink, just focus on your breathing. That's a wonderful thing to do. I love in the afternoons, on hot afternoons, to have some nice cool drink, read a book, do a little breathing, and invariably I'll actually nod off, have a little bit of a nap. So that's not a bad thing either. I love napping. So one more time, we're gonna twist all the way to that left. Beautiful. Okay, so let's keep the right hand on the knee. We're going to extend the left arm, fix your gaze on your thumb. Same thing that we did on the other side. So breathing in and out, we're going to raise that arm up, follow your thumb, bring the arm all the way back and around to just about shoulder height, and then come all the way back up. So again, this is just breathing in and breathing out, slow and steady. If you'd rather not follow your thumb, if that makes you feel dizzy or uncomfortable at all, just keep your head facing forward. That's okay. The reason that I have you follow the thumb is because that gets a little bit more of a twist in through the upper back and in the neck. So it exercises your spine a little bit more. Can we do just one more time on this side? I think this might be an extra one, but I actually lost my count. So, okay. I'm going to come all the way back around. Beautiful job. Great. Lean back slightly, uncross your legs, bring your feet to the floor, and then position yourself comfortably on your chair. We're going to just end with a little bit of a meditation on the breath. So if you want to sit into the back of your chair, you can. If you'd rather sit up close to the front, that's good. So the key here is just to find a place where you're relaxed. So can you just sort of relax your body a little bit? You can have your hands together, or they can be apart. Just try not to have them kind of tense and clutching onto one another. Close your eyes if that feels okay. And return your attention to your breathing. So don't try and change anything about how you're breathing. The way you're breathing is absolutely perfect. The air is moving in, the air is moving out. I just want you to observe that movement. So you might notice where the air moves in and out through your nostrils. You might notice where your chest, your back, your belly expand and contract. You might notice other really subtle movements in the back of the body, in the sides of the body, underneath the armpits, in between the ribs. So even though you're not moving your body is moving in response to the breath. The breath is so powerful, you guys. Every time you shift your awareness from all of the distractions of the world around you, shift your awareness into your breathing, it changes everything, literally changes everything, not just your perception. It changes you on the cellular level. When you focus on your breathing, you give credibility to this powerful movement in your body. And this is the single most important thing you do in any moment of the day. I know I've said this before, but you can go months without food. You can go weeks without water, but you cannot go more than a few moments without breath. The human body can adapt to all kinds of really harsh extremes, but it cannot adapt to a lack of air flowing in and out. It's not possible. So this governs everything that you do in your life. Think for a moment of all of the things that you prioritize in your life. What you're going shopping for, or who you're going to talk with or visit, what you're going to eat, how you're going to prepare your clothes, all kinds of different things that take such priority in your life. And how often do you prioritize your breathing in your mind? Maybe only when you're in yoga class. Maybe only when we do this together. And if it's only now, then really take advantage of it. When thoughts come in, just ignore those thoughts. Notice them, but don't become attached to them. Just keep coming back to your breath. The thoughts are like a child, right? Think about like a 2-year-old trying to get your attention. That's what the mind is like. The mind will start throwing thoughts at you to try and get your attention. But the reality is all you need to do is just redirect your awareness to your breath and everything changes. And the most wonderful thing about the power of your breath is that it is available to you anytime you want, night or day, and it's free. You don't need anybody to lead you in this. You don't need to pay for a subscription. You don't need to buy anything. You just notice your breath moving in and out of your body. How empowering is that? And take your right hand up to your heart and then cover your right hand with your left. Breathing in and breathing out. Feel your chest rising and falling underneath your hands. And then gather your palms together. Take a moment in gratitude to yourself, in gratitude to your breath, to its presence in your life. It's just unending presence in your life. And then one final moment just to be grateful for all the things you have been given, whether they're things you've worked really hard for or things that have come your way without any effort, just gifts that have arrived. And allowing your eyes to open. I'm grateful to be with all of you today. Have a wonderful rest of your day.